Oh my God, this place is absolutely packed tonight, and God bless you up there. It's my favorite people up here. Hi, good to see you. Listen, welcome to the Capitan Theatre in Hollywood, this historic, beautiful place, for a historic, beautiful night for the 30th anniversary of The Nightmare Before Christmas. 30 years ago tonight, it opened up, and you're here to celebrate it all with us, and we have some really cool things to show you before the show starts. Wow. Well, obviously, Danny Elfman had a little greeting he wanted to send our way, which we were happy for. It's always nice to hear from him, and he's such an important voice for Nightmare Before Christmas, along with a guy named Tim Burton, who is, I mean, it's an incredibly special guy, and I wanted to show you a clip that is Tim talking about the movie, but talking about it 30 years ago when it opened. So this is a very young, innocent, handsome, not to imply he's not handsome anymore, but Tim Burton talking about Nightmare Before Christmas when it first opened. Here he is.
Well, I was born in Burbank, right down the street from the Disney studio. Well, that's true. So I don't know, I always kind of wanted to work there, and then when I was working in animation, I no longer wanted to work there. When I was working at Disney, I designed something that's sort of like the reverse of that. It's like the Grinch in reverse, so to speak, about this character who finds Christmas and loves it and decides to try to do it himself, and things turn out wrong as opposed to being evil. What was that? Sorry. That's all right. I was wondering, was that me or was that something outside my body?
Thumbnail. Is there any way to describe the film? Or is
like that way. We have to write up
Tim wasn't quite on board that day, but you know, he freshened up later. The other guy I wanted to bring to the stage, for those of you who don't know, this is the director of Nightmare Before Christmas, Henry Selick. A brilliant filmmaker, Coraline. I mean, there's so many films he's made that I just adore. And I called up Henry yesterday. He's a good friend. I've known him a long time. I said, I'm at the El Capitan tomorrow night with 950 of my best friends. Do you want to say anything to them? He said, I would love to say something to them. Here's Henry Selick just for you.
Hello, I'm Henry Selick, the director of Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, which came out 30 years ago this Halloween. I can't tell you how happy I am that after its initial release over the years, it has grown from a small cult to a very large cult supported by fans like yourself. And of course, Tim's inspiration, Danny Elfman's songs, are the backbone of the film, but making the film was myself plus an incredible crew up in San Francisco, which included Kathleen Gavin, the line producer, Pete Kazacek, director of photography, Eric Layton, supervising animator, and Joe Raft, the head of story. Hope you enjoy the show tonight, and that it holds up as good as I remember. Take care.
Yes, man. And he has the most incredible bookcase behind him. I've watched that clip a dozen times today, and it's the best. Listen, next I want to bring out a good friend who's an author, an animator who actually worked on Nightmare Before Christmas in the special effects department, and he's here with an announcement about a brand new book he's just written. Please welcome Dave Bossert.
Hi, everybody. Come on. It's Friday the 13th, right?
It is. Thank you. It's just shameless promotion.
I know, it's terrible.
Listen, we are so glad you're here because you have done something over the last 5 years which has never quite been done, and that's to draft a behind-the-scenes making-of detailed book about Nightmare Before Christmas. Tell us about that.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas visual companion. this was a labor of love for me, not only because I worked on the book, but on the film, but because I got a chance to really interview all of these incredible artists and filmmakers, 25 years after they had completed the film, and got their perspective and the behind-the-scenes story of how this film got made.
And there's a lot of really great stuff in the book that I hadn't seen before. Like, what the heck is this on the left side of the screen here that we're looking at?
I don't know, what is, no. This is when they were animating Jack, in order to change his mouth shape and his expression from frame to frame, they actually changed his head on the puppet. So they would take his head off, put another head on, and that's how you would get these mouth shapes that were changing over the course of, say, 5 or 6 or 10 different heads.
So when you're watching the movie and you're watching Jack, you're actually seeing that puppet head change. I mean, not literally seeing it, but you're seeing it change to create the dialogue from all these replaceable heads.
Yeah, so like from frame to frame, they're putting a different head on.
It's nutty. And this is a little film clip from when the movie came out 30 years ago, with Henry talking about some animation tests that they did. And we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this, but let's take a look first.
Early on in the making of Nightmare Before Christmas, we undertook some tests with Jack, the lead character. This was to assure us, as well as Disney, that this guy had a real personality that translated to film. We started with these rudimentary wire armatures and then moved on to more sophisticated machined armatures. Tom Santamar created. Eric Layton did most of these earliest tests. Here's some early tests doing walks as a stripped down armature, then fully clothed. A lot of an animated character's personality is conveyed through how they move. And as you can see here, you can get quite a lot of emotion across without any speech, and just in the timing and placement of the limbs through a walk. A good walk's one of the hardest things to do in any kind of animation. Here we've got Jack moving up in speed to a run. He's such a tall, skinny guy that we ran into strobing problems with him, so we had to sort of find ways to smooth out that movement.
And with every step, you see his foot come down. What are they doing there?
They're actually putting a screw, like a little rod with a screw end on it, to anchor his foot to the surface he's walking along, because he's such a skinny puppet. If they didn't do it, the puppet would fall over.
Now the contrast to being a skinny puppet would be a really huge puppet like this guy. Like, what are we seeing here, Dave?
So, with Jack and Sally and some of the regular puppets in the movie, they actually put the metal armature into the mold and then put foam rubber around the armature. With Oogie, he was actually one of the biggest puppets that they had done in stop motion at that point. And so they couldn't make him solid foam rubber, it'd just be too heavy. So what they did was they injected liquid rubber, this vinyl, into the mold, and they created a shell that's hollow. And you can see over on that far image on the right that they filled him with like giant cotton balls with the armature in there.
It's a crazy way to make a movie. And I brought along this slide because now you can see how big the Oogie puppet actually is compared to Mike Belzer, who's the animator here that animated that scene. You can also see some of the stuff going on around him. I mean, this is that whole sequence surrounded by a roulette table, and you can see the camera over on the left and the lighting. This was done 30 years ago before digital photography. When the cameras shot film, which is for you younger people in the audience, it's a clear celluloid base with silver.
Does anybody know what film is?
Anyone? Thank you all. More on that later. But it was a very old school approach, so it's kind of amazing that the quality of the film is what it is.
A little known fact on the cameras are Mitchell cameras that they were using. They actually purchased those from Art Clokey, who was the guy that did Gumby and Pokey. If you remember Gumby and Pokey. That's where those cameras came from. They came from Art Clokey's studio.
There was a rush of energy through the audience when you said Art Clokey.
Yeah, there was this murmur. Like, oh, Art
fantastic. but I mean, one of the heroes of stop motion animation, just a great guy. I brought these along so you can see some of the scale, again, of the sets and how kind of complicated it is to actually work in these environments with the lights and the puppets and the film all in one place. It's an amazing, amazing process. One of the things I wanted to talk about is when the movie originally came out, you would think it would be a huge blockbuster hit. And you know, it wasn't. I mean, it really wasn't. And to explain that and talk a little bit more about it, here's Danny Elfman once again.
Actually, it wasn't a hit at all. It did one preview before it opened, and I think from that preview, Disney basically learned there was no audience for this movie and kids hated it. And so all merchandising was pulled, and the marketing suddenly shifted from what was going to be towards a young audience to try to find an adult audience or almost sell it like it was wrong. They had no idea what to do with it. The preview was a disaster. I was really kind of depressed about it because it just disappeared fast. But then, it was probably 10 years later, I was in Japan, in Tokyo with Tim, we were doing promo for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And it was seeing Jack and Sally merchandising everywhere. And he was like, I never even seen any of this stuff. And then it turned out there was a Nightmare Before Christmas inspired club in Tokyo. And then it was like, you know what, this thing was actually got a life. And Disney, to their credit, picked up on that vibe. And they said, you know what, we know what it is now. We didn't know what it was then. Let's try to re-release it. And they began a series of re-releases and things. They really did actually get behind it. But it took them a decade to figure out what the movie was.
So you never know. You never know when a movie or a piece of art is going to be interesting or historic or praiseworthy.
You know, and I was just going to add, what a great guy Danny Elfman is.
Danny Elfman's been wonderful.
Just a really incredible guy. I spent a bit of time with him interviewing him about each of the songs for the book. So, and he was so generous with his time.
He really is. Really is.
Wonderful.
But have you done your Christmas shopping yet, Dave?
I have not.
You know, I am glad you said that because one of my favorite things about coming to the El Capitan Theatre is sharing with you Don's must-have nightmare holiday shopping ideas. And you will want to rush out of your theater seats, but please stay seated during this next part of the presentation because first on the docket is this wonderful glow-in-the-dark sport coat. Yes, see?
I saw this down at Disneyland yesterday.
Dave almost bought it, but regrets that he didn't buy it yesterday.
I didn't realize it glowed in the dark. Had I known that, that would have sealed the deal.
That's the linchpin. And of course, tattoos are something that we don't condone necessarily at the Walt Disney Company. But if you were to get a little ink for this movie, you would not be alone, shall we say. There's some beautiful tattoos out there and tattoo art for Nightmare Before Christmas.
But you know, I think the company's warming up to it. There's 2 pages in my new book with fan tattoos.
Is that right?
Absolutely, a 2-page spread.
And Dave and I will be getting tattoos after the show right down here.
Absolutely, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's winter coming up, so a little hat and some mittens are really useful, I think, for all of us.
Don, you and I next year with those on.
We almost wore these tonight, and thank God we didn't. Some nice, beach shorts, maybe to shoot a few baskets. And of course this, which is almost a homage to Titanic. I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful moment from the movie. And you're thinking, well, these are just kitschy little things. They're not kitschy at all, ladies and gentlemen. You can get high-end, beautiful things like these diamond earrings. And they are something that really would enhance any outfit, as would these.
Wow. Don, I mean those.
Well, I nearly wore these tonight, but I thought the better of it. So I don't know, my feet can't take it anymore. But with this outfit, you might need a lovely Nightmare Before Christmas handbag, and of course, makeup. There's an extensive line of makeup for Nightmare Before Christmas, including the makeup brushes, fingernails, so strange, and jewelry. This beautiful diamond engagement ring is the real deal. So if you're looking to pop that question, gentlemen, There's some lovely engagement and wedding jewelry out there. Yes. I don't know. This is very good, I think. And if your engagement goes well, it might lead to a wedding. A bride's bouquet and groom's boutonniere, themed as nightmare because nothing's better than a Nightmare Before Christmas wedding. This is seriously cool.
Honestly, I think plenty of parents out there would love to see their kids getting married like this.
I disagree. So anyway, but if you love the movie, what's better than this? And of course, you can get the invitations and the place settings, and really anything, including
The ring bearer,
including the cake. Yeah, including the cake themed to Nightmare Before Christmas. This stuff is going to rush off the shelves after this presentation. Well, a good marriage may lead to children. And beautiful things for the crib. I honestly love this stuff. Yeah, little toys. This is my favorite onesie. I was wearing this the other night. And
there you go.
it needs no narration, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, shoes.
I love these.
Dave, you may have these at home.
Size 11 and a half, that's
Yes.
all I need.
What I have at home are the Nightmare Before Christmas Crocs. Yes, thank you. A smattering of applause through the audience. It's recognition of a good shoe. And of course, the housewares kitchen portion of the Nightmare line is extensive.
Yes.
Not only cookies, but this little straw holder guy, a cheese board. Many of you have been asking for a cheese board. A lovely teapot. A slow cooker. How many of you have longed for a Nightmare Before Christmas slow cooker, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, I see a lot of hands going
A lot
up.
of hands out there. I feel like we should be auctioning this stuff off. Of course, a salt and pepper shaker. Very cool. And a Hail the Pumpkin King oven mitt. And last but not least, a ramen bowl.
Yes.
New to the line this year. So those of you wanting a ramen bowl for the holidays, here it is.
This is
Wow.
awesome. This is so awesome.
This is no joke. This is a couple in Wales in the United Kingdom that makes these beautiful, beautiful beds themed after many things, but this is their Nightmare Before Christmas bed. And of course, if you have that, you'll need some pajamas to go along with it, and you may need some slippers also. So I think as an ensemble, I think this slide really suggests a lifestyle.
I think the theater manager is wishing he had stocked the store with more.
I know. Yeah, but we will hold this in our minds and be able to go out and find these things on the open market. A little speaker, an auxiliary speaker. There's coffin-shaped backpacks, incredible designer clocks, shawls as clothing, luggage, decals for your sports car. I mean, you really wouldn't want more except your dog.
Gotta have a dog, huh?
Last but not least, we have to take care of our pets. In this Zero Dog House, it's the real deal. Yeah.
You know, all of this is a testament to how popular this movie is.
I know, and it's all so sweet. And obviously the consumer products are so amazing every year. The costumes are also amazing every year. And my favorite Sally costume also this year. So that's just a little hint at what's coming for the holidays from you all, including Mr. Dave Bossert's book.
Which I'm going to be signing after the screening.
After the screening, there's books in the bookstore, also at the snack bar. So if you want butter on your book, you can get it at the snack bar. Sitting right down here after the screening will be animator, author Dave Bossert signing your books right here.
Right there. That's right.
So he'll be here. And that occurs to me, finally, once again, the mysterious head of Danny Elfman has appeared, which means it's time for another announcement. This time, Danny is going to talk to us about a very special concert coming up at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yes.
And for the first time, he's going to tell us who's going to be there with him. Here he is.
Join me for Nightmare Before Christmas live in concert at the iconic Hollywood Bowl. I'll be there, and Maestro John Malchari and his orchestra, and a cast of amazing guest performers. Please come in costume. Celebrate. Happy Halloween.
Announcing special guests: Halsey, Ken Page, Ricky Lindholm, Fred Armisen, and Catherine O'Hara. Join Danny Elfman for Disney Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas in concert this Halloween weekend with a full orchestra at the Hollywood Bowl. Tickets on sale now. Halloween weekend, October 27th, 28th, and 29th. Visit Ticketmaster.com for more details and tickets.
So here comes the concert you've been waiting for. It's unbelievable to see Danny in person perform with Halsey and all those guests this year. I think it's going to be great.
And it's being produced by our friend Richard Kraft and
Kraft.
the good folks at Disney Music or Disney Concerts.
It is. So if you're up for a little Halloween outdoor concert at the beautiful, iconic Hollywood Bowl with Danny Elfman, you can't do much better.
It's fantastic. If you haven't done it, it's a great experience.
Hey, it's showtime.
Okay.
And the first thing we have for you, and then we're going to rock into Nightmare Before Christmas, is a little treat to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company. And we're going to show you a cartoon that was made in 1929. And that is Walt Disney's The Skeleton Dance. Yes. It's unbelievable. Animated by Works. And other amazing people who we have forgotten completely. But it is a testament to what Walt was doing in 1929, and it is terrific.
And music, Carl Stalling.
Carl Stalling, who had a long career at Warner Brothers with Chuck Jones, wrote the music for this. So after that, we'll be right into the show. You guys have been great. Thanks for coming to the El Capitan tonight. Here's Skeleton Dance. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.